Hi, it is me, Bishop Jeff from Camp Gilgal TV. Wonderful moment to be with you. May God bless you. Community of Camp Gilgal TV, may the Lord bless you. Community of Camp Gilgal TV, may the Lord shower you with all the blessing that came with a promise in Abraham's life. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, He is the Lord of relationship. He loves relationship. That's why we were going to talk today about Davidic covenant. Davidic covenant, which you find it in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 7, from verse 4 to 17, and in the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 17, verse 3 to 15. Before we go deep, let me remind you, if you are not yet subscribed, punch that button, and you subscribed, and you like the video, and you share it to all your social media platforms. If you are already a subscriber, a member of our community, the Camp Gilgal community with Bishop J, I kindly say to you, thank you, and I do not take you for granted. I appreciate you, and thank you for supporting my video. We're going to share, as I said before, the Davidic covenant. I've given you the scripture, where it comes from. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 4 to 17, and 1 Chronicle chapter 17, verse 3 to 15. At the time these promises were given to King David, he is already reigning as a king in Jerusalem. He is already reigning as a king in Jerusalem. And let me give you this for your small information, and you may take it very nice and share it with others also. Keep liking the video. Do not forget that. King David, when he was proclaimed king, he reigned in Hebron for 7 years. 7 years, the number of perfection. Let us play a little bit with numbers here. The number of perfection. And then he reigned in Jerusalem for 33 years. If it is 7 plus 33, it gives you 40. That means King David, as a king of Israel, he reigned for 40 years. And his lifespan went until 70. He died at the age of 70. Now, 40 minus 70, you see that he ascended in power at the age of 30 years old. Yes, 30 years old. At 30 years old, he became a king. Same as Jesus, who started preaching at the age of 30. Same as Jesus, the King of Kings. Now, Jesus lasted for 33 years. And King David in Jerusalem alone, as a king, he reigned for 33 years. You see, as I told you, we're going to play with number a little bit for that. Thank you for listening to that, and keep it for yourself. He has, and share with others, please. He has told Nathan that his desire, and his desire was, he wanted to build a temple. He wanted to build a temple. That was the desire of King David, and share it with Nathan. There is this relationship, which I don't know how I can describe it. The relationship between David and King David and the prophet Nathan. That's what I wanted to say. King David and prophet Nathan, they have this relationship. Prophet Nathan is the one who came to rebuke David about his sin with Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. He is the one who rebuked him. He is the one who even told him that the son also that came out of your relationship will die. You see, Prophet Nathan is the one also whom David tell him his desire to build a tent for the Lord, because the ark of the Lord was staying in a tent, and he wanted to build a temple that the ark of the Lord may be inside. That was a desire of King David. It was not God said the Lord. It was the desire of King David. And this desire of King David, God kind of saying yes to it. God approved it, but there is a but in that approval of God, because King David, who has a desire for building the temple for the Lord, will not going to be the main actor. The main actor to do what? To carry the building, to carry the construction of the building. He's not going to be the main actor. Now, he confined it to Prophet Nathan, and the same Prophet Nathan will come and give him the answer that will not be really 100% good to King David. You see, this is their relationship. And also, Prophet Nathan is the one who went to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, when Adonijah auto-proclaimed himself as a king, is auto-proclaiming himself as a king in the place of his father. Prophet Nathan tells Bathsheba, hey, you are sleeping here. I'm just paraphrasing. You are sleeping here. God tell King David that Adonijah is already a king there. And he must fulfill which he promised publicly that Solomon would be the king. That's how Prophet Nathan play a role in the life of King David. Oh Lord, alas, I want God to raise the people that they will be like Nathans. They have no shame, no fear, no compromising, telling the truth to power. Telling the truth to power when it reason to be. That Nathan's was that one. Beside their good relationship with the king, but he will always tell the king what the Lord has said. Now, that when we arrive to 2 Samuel chapter 7, from verse 16, from verse 11 to 16, we see now Nathan receive a word from the Lord, which it come from the desire that the King David has when he confided to him. Then the Lord declared to you, that Nathan is saying to David, the Lord is declared to you that the Lord himself will establish a house for you. When your days are over and you rest with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, who will come from your own body, and I will establish his kingdom. And then verse 13, he is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he will be my son. When he does wrong, I will punish him with the rod of man, with the flocking inflicted by man. But my love will never be taken away from him, as I took it away from Saul, whom I remove from before you. Your house and your kingdom will endure forever. Before me, your throne will be established forever. Now, when you read this promise, which is constituted, this is the bulk of Davidic covenant. And when you read it, you will understand it has three main points, which is the temple, number one. Number two is the everlasting dynasty. And the number three is the temple builder. The temple builder. Now, and when you see it, it has no condition. It has no condition whatsoever. Beside the sin that the descendant of David will commit, God still engage himself to establish this Davidic covenant, and it will come to pass as he said. That is God. Don't get involved to the life of somebody with his God. Do not get involved. I'm telling you. You will see God say his love for the descendant who came after him. Who came after David? Solomon. Solomon is the one who came after David. Before I conclude with the 3 points. Solomon is the one who came after David. And who came the last? And the last is Jesus Christ himself. That's why they call the son of David. Even Bartholomew called him the son of David. Even the people were singing, Hosanna, Hosanna, the blessed one, the son of David, the son of David. They all enter in Jerusalem in the day of coronation of Solomon. Is seated on the mule. Is seated on the mule, but in the day of entering of Jesus in Jerusalem, is seated on the donkey, which he did not even own. He borrowed the donkey. That is the contrast. But Jesus was higher than Solomon, because he said, all authority is given to me in heaven and on the earth. That is the son of David. This is the promise that God said it will be an everlasting dynasty. Okay, let's go to point number one. Point number one is the temple. The temple that the Lord has promised to David. The temple that the Lord has agreed. Because David has the desire that the temple must be built. Why? Because the Ark of Covenant, according to David, cannot stay in the tent. It must be in the house, and it must be built. A sophisticated, a very glorious, a very marvelous, a very beautiful house. Therefore, the ark must be seated inside there. That was the desire of David. And then 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 5 and the 1 Chronicle chapter 17 verse 4 say that. Now, you are not, then God said this to David, you are not the one to build me a house to dwell in. Using house. God used house. You are not the one to build me the house to dwell in a sense of a physical house and the temple. Now, David was not qualified to build the house. We know the reason was, they say he shedded lot of blood. He shedded lot of blood. Even most of those blood he shedded, put aside the blood of Uriah, most of the blood he shedded, it was in a war for the confirmation of the kingdom of Israel. But God still say, you shedded lot of blood. Therefore, you must learn and know that killing is not good before God. Even in a war, even though it's permitted, but it's not fully good for you to do that. And David was not qualified to build the temple, the house, the physically house. David was not permitted to do that. And the house of the Lord is sacred. Number two is the everlasting dynasty. The everlasting dynasty. If you can study, God has promised to Jeroboam, the king of a northern part, when the kingdom was divided in two, he took 10 tribes. But God has promised it to Jeroboam an everlasting, what you call dynasty. But Jeroboam break the covenant and break what God has told him. He was taken out, and it has lot of dynasty. But the kingdom of Judah, he only has one dynasty. And that dynasty is the dynasty of David. Is the dynasty of David. A dynasty of David is an everlasting dynasty. It started with David until Jesus Christ. You can trace the genealogy until Jesus Christ. This is a one dynasty, not two dynasty. That rather than David building a house, this is a little bit what I can say acknowledgement, and this can be a little bit of a good things to David. Rather than he build a house which can be demolished, as we know, Babylonian came and demolished the temple, but David building for God, God will establish it. Listen to it. Rather than David building a house for God, but God will establish a house for David, using a house in a sense of a dynasty. God will establish the house for David. Using a house in the sense of a dynasty, it means that out of your loin there will be a king forever, and there will never stop to be a king out of your loin, David. I love that. It's a strong promise, and it was promised to him, and he stayed the ground of God forever. God promised David an everlasting dynasty, even though he and his descendant may sin in the future. Jesus Christ is the ultimate fulfillment of this promise. Even though his house will sin, but God still stands. There is no condition here. David covenant has no conditions. Jesus will come out of you. Then number 3, to finish it, the temple builder. God promised that one of David's natural sons will build the temple. One of David's natural son who will come out of his body will build the temple, and which is Solomon. Solomon built the temple, but Jesus built a spiritual temple. Solomon built a natural and physical temple. Jesus built a spiritual temple, which was not built by the hand of man, but which it was built by Jesus' spiritual victory to Satan at the cross of Calvary. You know that. And this is the Davidic covenant that I wanted to share with you guys, and God has given us that. The Davidic covenant. We thank God for the Davidic covenant, and we thank God for it. And when you see when it was given, the name of Solomon was not publicly released on that. I'll stop here for today. God bless you. Keep subscribing. See you next time.